who are the teams to beat and who will meet in the World Series. I mean, it's tough to call at this point. I'll just go really quickly on this one. I think it's pretty simple at this point. You know, you look at the two best teams, and it's a pretty definitive Cardinals and Royals right now are the teams to beat. And I think at the end of the day, the Cardinals have a great shot of making the World Series. However, I'm going to stick with one of my earlier predictions, and that is that the Dodgers will make it from the NL. I had the Mariners in the World Series for the AL, so let's forget about that, and let's this is tough. You know what? I think the Tigers get hot. I think the Tigers will make the World Series this year. And I think it's the weirdest year we see it, because you normally see the Tigers playing great and you say it. But I kind of picked the Tigers for like the last 3 years, and they haven't made it. So I'm just going to hope this year is the year. All right, what do you think?
Both predictions there. So for me, in the AL, it's a coin toss for me right now between the Yankees and the Royals. I think the Royals, unbelievable team. Obviously, their improbable run last year. They'll have that swagger in the postseason. We've been here before. We've proved people wrong. We can do it again. I have them, and I think the Yankees, once they get healthy, they are a very, very good team. Obviously, they've played well up until the All-Star break this season. The AL East is really bad. I have the Yankees winning that pretty easily. So I think it's either going to be the Yankees or the Royals from the AL. Right now, I'll say the Royals, but that could change. Again, I think it'll be one of those two teams. In the NL, I'm going to go with the team that has unbelievable pitching. I'm going to go with the Washington Nationals. So if you look at their pitchers, they obviously have Scherzer, who almost threw a perfect game if it wasn't for the guy on the Pirates who leaned in and that hit by pitch. That was disgraceful. They have Zimmerman, Gio Gonzalez, Doug Fister, and you have Strasburg, who's on the 15-day disabled list right now, but I think if you get him back for the postseason, that is an unbelievable starting rotation. Unbelievable pitching there. And in the playoffs, it really comes down to pitching. I think the Cardinals are a great team. I think the Dodgers are a great team. I think the NL is clearly better than the AL. I think there'll be some great series in there, but I like the Washington Nationals to come out and finally make the World Series after years of waiting. And Royals Nationals, I'll call it right now. I'm gonna stick with my guns and say the Nationals. But again, injuries could come along for any one of those teams, and as of right now, those are my picks from the World Series.
All right, so moving on, we're gonna go on to something a little bit less important, I guess. I mean, not to say that watching rookies play in meaningless games in Las Vegas, Utah, and Orlando aren't important, but the NBA Summer League is wrapping up, and we are now, I believe, in the quarterfinals of the Summer League with a couple of games, so we're going to go through and go with quick predictions. Honestly, I know nothing about this, so I'm going to go just based off gut feeling, because that's basically what NBA Summer League is. And we're going to start with the first matchup right now, Bulls versus Suns. By the way, we already have a semifinals matchup set, which is the Hawks versus Spurs. Wouldn't you know, the Spurs are going far in another tournament. So, Bulls versus Suns. I'll go Bulls fan. I'll take the Bulls just because, why not? They're the 17 seed. I'd love to see it happen. What do you think?
I'm going to go with the Suns just because, I'm with you here. Summer League is pretty much a snooze fest for me. I just watch the highlights on SportsCenter. The Bulls don't have as many good rookie players. I'll go with the Suns.
All right. On to New Orleans versus Golden State. Seth Curry going up against his brother's team. Second, I'll go with Seth Curry and the Pelicans in this one to meet the Bulls. What do you think?
I agree with you there. Again, higher seed. The Pelicans are the 4 seed in the whole tournament. The Warriors, obviously, they just won the NBA championship, so that means they didn't have it. Seth Curry, he's been out of this world. I think he'll get to the semifinals.
All right. Back to the top. The matchup that we know is set in stone. Spurs versus Hawks. Hawks being the 14 seed, Spurs the 7 seed. I always think the Spurs do a good job of getting their rookies ready, so I will go with the Spurs in this one to make a finals. This is consolation for what was a slightly below par playoffs for the Spurs. So do you got the Hawks, or do you think the Spurs can pull off the win?
I agree with you there. 7 versus 14. the Spurs. Again, this is pretty much just on a computer screen right now, but I'll go with the Spurs.
Yeah, all right, down to the bottom, you've got Suns versus Pelicans. I've got Bulls, Pelicans. I'll go with the Pelicans. You know, it seems to me that there's always like a good rookie, and he propels them through.
Yeah.
Bulls, Bobby Portis, not really a star rookie. I mean, good. Going to be a good rotation player, but I do think Seth Curry gets them through to the next round.
I agree with you there. Again, I think Phoenix, they have, again, good rookies, not great rookies, and Seth Curry has been an unbelievable rookie in this summer league. So I'll go with the Pelicans there.
All right, Spurs, Pelicans, in a game that will essentially decide little to nothing about the future of the NBA. I'm going to go with, you know what? Steph got a title, so I'll give Seth the title too. They can both enjoy it. One of them with a really cool trophy, the other one with one that, I don't know. I guess that's the kind of trophy you kind of stick behind all the rest of your trophies. I think that the Pelicans pull it off.
Yeah. It's basically like a disgrace trophy, really, because it's like, who really cares, you know? You show that thing off and it's just like, oh, how many people watched your championship game?
I don't know, like,
answer like
10, 15, you know?
Yeah. Like, I've never watched a full summer league game. As I said, I just watched the ridiculous highlights on SportsCenter the next day. Yeah. I'll go with the Spurs. I say Seth Curry goes 0 for 20 from the field in the finals, and I say that the Spurs win it.
0 for 20. That sounds like, I mean, you want to talk about, like, disgraced trophies. That would be a pretty disgraced performance. Just imagine Steph Curry.
Steph Curry watched it, so no one will remember, you know?
Except for his brother. I guarantee you his brother's just watching it, just waiting for the moment. Just like, still better than you. You went to Duke. I went to Davidson. Still better. But speaking of Steph Curry, you know, this guy, he's been in the shadow of his brother for a while. But now it seems like he may have a roster spot guaranteed with the Pelicans. That is, according to sources. Probably Chris Broussard's Wheatie box, but nonetheless, he apparently will land with the Pelicans. So, David, do you think that he will have a strong enough summer league to guarantee that spot, and will he land in New Orleans?
Yeah, I goes before the show, and all of them are pretty much saying it's pretty much a lock. Because if you look at his stats in this summer league, they're absurd. 25.3 points a game, and he's shooting 18.5% from three. Again, those are good numbers. This is a guy that could help out a struggling team. Not struggling, but I mean, they barely made the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, they lost in the first round. So I have definitely getting a contract from the Pelicans at the end of this summer league. Will he be successful in the NBA? I think he'll be good. I don't think he'll be like a standout 15, 20 points a game player, into 10 points a game kind of guy. He has a good work ethic from what I've heard and what I've read. So I don't think he'll be, this poison in the locker room kind of guy. I think he'll be a decent team.
Yeah, I think he'll land on the Pelicans as well. Like you said, it's basically a lock. And it depends on your definition of successful for the second part.
Right.
For him, I feel like successful would be a guy who puts up, 5 to 10 points a game, a rotation player. Of course, for him, obviously, he'd love to be a starter. He'd love to be the best player in the NBA. Who wouldn't? But I think that, to be realistic, I think he's a rotation player, maybe lands as a starter eventually on some struggling team as a piece, just a filler, just to fill in a little bit. But I think he is, at best, a rotation player. He can prove me wrong. Lots of players have come out of nowhere and just been terrific, and his brother's an excellent player. He does have the genes in him, Del Curry being his father and all. But I do think that successful for him would be an average, role player guy.
Right.
On to the next part, which is quick hits. This is just really quick. Just going to go right through this. British Open, of course, got delayed. It's going to finish on Monday for the first time since 1988. Tiger Woods not quite good, not really good at all, to be honest. And it prompts the question, I don't know why this is still a question, to be fair, and it's, is it time to officially give up on Tiger Woods? I personally have. Once again, he can prove me wrong, but I personally have. But do you think, for those people that are still, clinging to the old Tiger Woods, is it time to give up?
Here's the thing about Tiger Woods. The past, probably the past 4 or 5 years, it's been, will Tiger ever win a major? Will he be, return to his greatness? All this stuff. If greatness, he would have done it by now. The guy's had his chances, and he just goes out in pretty much every major, and anywhere from mediocre to abysmal on the first day, and then he falls off. If he is decent and still in the mix after the first day, he'll fall off the face of the leaderboard within the next. I have given up on Tiger Woods. I don't think he'll ever win a major ever again. I'm happy to see it. I don't like the guy. And I think that, it's time to give up on Tiger. For all those fans out there who, worshipped, idolized, hoped great Tiger Woods to return in 2015, that ship has sailed a long time ago. And that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, it's time to turn to Jordan Spieth. I think that's the next American, the next great American golfer, as great as you can be after following up Tiger Woods. Now on to the next quick hit, the Gold Cup. The USA just beat Cuba 6-0. Really no surprise there. They haven't been great, but they have been good. So, will USA Soccer win the Gold Cup, or will Mexico or Costa Rica snub them? Overall, it's been a pretty bad Gold Cup. Most teams have struggled. But should the U.S. be the favorites, and should they win it?
Yes, they should definitely be the favorites. They should win it. I mean, soccer is an interesting game in that it's mostly always low scoring. The games, USA versus Mexico, they're always very entertaining. I can't remember a lot of blowouts, USA over Mexico or Mexico over USA. I think that if those two teams, I think, first of all, I think they'll beat Costa Rica. I don't think Costa Rica. I think they'll give them a good game. I think the U.S. should be favored. But again, if Mexico can, prevent the U.S. from scoring and keep it close, I think that could be a possible upset. I will pick you, but I don't think it'll be a runaway against every single team. I think if they play Mexico, it'll be a big challenge. I think they'll win, but I think it'll be a very close game, and obviously the toughest one for them in this Gold Cup. So I think, yes, they'll win it, but watch out for that USA-Mexico matchup.
All right, well, on to our fourth and final topic. And, we've had this situation for a while where Des Bryant was going to hold out, or Demaryius Thomas was going to hold out. Finally, after a long time, they get the deals done. I mean, there was a point where I was thinking it just wouldn't happen, that Des Bryant would finally end up somewhere else, or Demaryius Thomas would end up somewhere else. But Demaryius Thomas now is signed to a deal and says he wants to retire a Bronco. So, just a little bit of a switch there from, I'm going to hold out, I need my money to, I love Denver. Denver is my home. But the deal, 5 years, $70 million, $43.5 million in guarantees. Negotiations came down to the final hour before the deadline, but both teams were able to get the deals done. And these are big deals for big-time wide receivers, debatably the top two in the NFL. You could throw Antonio Brown in there, Calvin Johnson in there. But these are the future. Do you think, first of all, and this was a question I don't have in the script, but do you think they're worth that kind of money? And how will this define the wide receiver market going forward?
So I think Demaryius Thomas, well, before I start on this, I'm just going to say this is where the game was headed, and I think these big contracts were not a huge surprise because the NFL is obviously shifting from a run-based league, for a very long time. It was the running back was the most important position and got not the most money, but they were the guys you wanted to lock up into big contracts. But now the NFL is a